Okay, now in today's video, I'm going to be showing you the signs that a woman knows that you are catching feelings for her. And this is very important because here's what you as a man have to realize, here's what you as a man have to internalize, and here's what you as a man have to understand. The women who oftentimes you tell yourself, she could do no harm, there's no way this woman would pull away, there's no way this woman would ever, let's say, exit the relationship. This girl's different, or I've built some sort of relationship or chemistry with this woman, therefore I can ignore all of the facts regarding female nature and she's going to treat me differently because of who I am. The second you find yourself in that situation is the second that what you have with that woman is going to dissolve very, very quickly. The second you consider her different, this is the second you consider you different. The second you consider you different is the second that you tell yourself you can act however you'd like because of who you are, which is the fastest way to have your relationship dissolve. Here's another thing you have to understand. The women who are most feminine, the women who are most oftentimes easygoing and fun to be around, are typically the most polite. They are typically slightly shy. They are typically, let's even say, easy to talk to or easy to get to know. So what's going to happen is you will naturally start to open up. You will naturally start to think, hey, this girl, I can basically either A, however you want to call it, which would be drop your guard, or B, you can speak however you'd like. You're going to notice that this is the quickest way to have things go south very quickly. So these are all of the signs that I'm going to show you that a woman knows that you are actually catching feelings for her. And this is a very serious topic. Now, there's 3 reasons you have to know why this is going to turn her off. Okay, and these 3 reasons, once you can see this for what it is, you cannot make these mistakes. The very first reason, okay, that it turns a woman off when she can visibly see that you're catching feelings is because she thinks that right now in this moment, she is the best that you can do. The second that a woman feels as if she is the best that you can do is the second that that woman will feel too good for you. It is the second that she'll want to find a different man that she can look up to. This is the exact second that hypergamy is not satisfied, which brings me to point number 2. Okay, the second reason why this turns her off is because this woman now thinks that you're emotionally weak, therefore you can't protect her. You see, what a woman really wants is a man with stability. What a woman really wants, especially for the long haul, if she wants to emotionally invest in a guy, is a guy who is so rock solid stable he cannot be moved. He cannot be moved internally or externally, especially emotionally. So when you are visibly catching feelings for a woman, she thinks that you're now emotionally weak, therefore you cannot protect her. Therefore, her biology or whatever it is subconsciously in her head is going to be telling her a few things. It's going to be saying, get away from this man is not safe, this man's not a good bet for your survival, this man will possibly not be a good fit for you in the long haul, and she's going to just get turned off. She's going to close off from you. You do not want this to happen, which brings me to point number 3. The third reason, okay, why this turns her off when you catch feelings for her is because she now assumes that other women are not into you. She's going to sit there and go, well, if other women were into this guy, especially other women who are just as attractive as me or even more attractive than I am, he would not have this strong desire to commit to me. He would not have this strong desire to catch feelings for me. This man would be operating out of abundance. What you're going to see the more you date, okay? And some of you are going to have to go through this yourself. Some of you are going to hear what I'm telling you and you're going to disregard it. You're going to still run into a specific girl that you catch feelings for and you're going to think she's different, or you're going to think something is different about that relationship, or you guys have some next level of companionship that's different, and you're going to watch. It's not true. Okay? Some of you are going to have to take your own losses and look at them objectively to really have these points sink in. But nevertheless, I'm going to try my absolute best to internalize these from what I've experienced into you, like through this camera or through this video. The very first sign that a woman knows that you are catching feelings for her is you desire intimacy more than her. Okay? Here's what you have to remember. Every single time you display some sort of intimacy, meaning you're You're initiating intimacy. This could be kissing, this could be cuddling, this could be hand holding, this could be looking at her deeply in the eyes, anything like that where you guys are basically having puppy love. Okay, puppy love, back and forth, push pull kind of that whole puppy love dynamic. Okay, if you desire intimacy more than her, this is going to register as weakness, and here's why. Women typically want to seek reassurance from a man that they feel is high value. So when you are seeking when you're seeking reassurance from her by trying to kiss her or trying to hold her hand, things like that, those are interest tests. Okay? And you're failing those interest tests. You are overtly displaying your high interest. When you go to text that woman good night right before bed with a kiss emoji, you're displaying your high interest. When you go to hold that woman's hand and you're initiating intimacy first, you are now displaying your high interest. When you are trying to snuggle up with her on the couch and you appear as if you're the one wanting that or needing that more than she does, you're displaying your high interest. This turns women off, okay? Women will typically seek reassurance from a high-value man. How do they seek reassurance from a high-value man? They do it by seeing if the intimacy is reciprocated on his end, which means when she holds your hand first, it's very powerful. When she tries to kiss you first, it's very powerful, okay? She's seeking reassurance that you're invested in her and that you like her. You want to give her that reassurance to make sure that the relationship cohesion and dynamic is still good between both of you. But what you have to remember is you as a man seeking those things first will turn that woman off. It's going to make her lose attraction for you. And some of you right now, as you're watching this, you're going to look at your past dating interactions, you're going to look at your past relationships as I go through these points, and you're going to notice exactly what I'm talking about is spot on. So the second thing, or the second way that a woman knows that you're catching feelings, you check in to see how she's doing or how her day is, okay? Now, when you do stuff like this to her, like to that woman, it will feel good for her in the moment. She's going to be like, oh my gosh, he cares about me. Look at him text me. But subconsciously, this is going to turn her off. Subconsciously, this is going to start to lower attraction and arousal. Subconsciously, it's going to weaken her perception of your status. See, this is what you have to remember. Women are constantly identifying what your status level is. They're constantly identifying where you stack up compared to other men, and they're constantly identifying how you carry yourself and how influential as a man are you compared to the other men that she could potentially be with, okay? When you're checking in to see how she's doing or how her day is going, or you're sending the good night baby text, you're checking in with her, how was work today, how is this, how's that? Once again, not only are you displaying your high interest, but what you have to remember is you're lowering the psychological perceived value that you once held in her eyes or in her brain. She once viewed you like this, now she starts to view you like this. She views you as not as high of a value fit or not as high of a value option. So what this really means, and what this boils down to, is you're going to notice this the more that you date. The idea of true love, or the idea of this just naturally, organically happens where we just love each other forever, and this is like a thing that's going to continue no matter what, through thick and thin. You're going to notice this very quickly. Relationships are a dynamic between power and value. It's an exchange. Like somebody always, I don't even necessarily want to say power, I want to say leverage and value. Somebody at all times of a relationship has more leverage or psychological perceived value than the other person. You might call this sexual market value. You might call this leverage, right? You might call this who has the leverage in the dating dynamic. Regardless, the more you're checking in with her makes her want to check in with you less. Once again, it's a woman, like a woman wants to seek reassurance of love and companionship from a high value man. This is why when she checks in with you, it does not turn you off. This is why when she initiates intimacy, or she tries to hold your hand for physical touch first, and she initiates that, it doesn't turn you off, because the dynamic is going correctly. The dynamic between the masculine and the feminine is operating as it should. This is very good. You're going to notice when that dynamic gets flip-flopped and it changes, where the man is now seeking reassurance, this naturally turns her off. She senses low status. She senses low value. She senses that she's probably the best that you can do. And this is going to sting, and this is going to be cold truths for some of you, but you have to internalize this if you want to get ahead, because it's not until you can actually connect the dots can you really win and succeed within your own dating life. So that's number 2. Number 3, okay? The third way that a woman will know you're catching feelings for her is if she notices that going days without communication changes your emotional state. This is a test, and this is once again a test of your interest level. She wants to consistently gauge where your interest level is at compared to where hers is at. The more interest overtly you show, the less interest overtly she wants to show you. Okay? This is why when a woman shows you high interest, it typically doesn't turn you off. In fact, men feel flattered. They're like, oh, look at her, she's invested in me. Women don't like that. They're like, look at this guy chase, look at this guy pursue, this guy's needy. And she naturally starts to push him away. She naturally starts to distance herself from him. She will purposefully test to see if going days without communication changes your emotional state. This is the ultimate test to see how engaged in the relationship you are and to see if you've went emotionally weak for her yet. This is the test that they do to see where you stack up compared to the other men who may or may not be in her inbox. This is the test that women do to see how strong you are emotionally. This is the test that women do to notice if communication patterns and changes you notice, to really test at a deep level if this guy's on his purpose or not, if this guy is making me the number one priority in his life or not. You can never, under any circumstances, allow distance in communication to change your emotional state. The second you do that is the second she wants to exit. You're once again you're proving to her that you have placed her too high of a priority in your life. And a woman naturally does not want to be the number one priority. She wants to see you focused. She wants to see you driven. She wants to see you living a life of fun, abundance, purpose, excellence outside of that relationship. So this is a big test that she's going to do to test your value. Your sexual market value is demonstrated based off how much interest you show. So keep that in mind. Next, okay, the next sign that a woman knows you're catching feelings for her. So what number is this? 1, 2, 3, 4. This would be the 4th way, okay? You are nervous to call out expectations or behavior that you dislike. Well, what does that mean? Nervous to call out expectations or behavior that you dislike. If a woman sees that you are nervous to call out behaviors that you don't like, or she sees that you are nervous to call out expectations of what you expect in a relationship, in a girlfriend, anything like that, she's going to see that you've went weak for her beauty, okay? A man who's went weak for a woman's beauty, I'm going to sum this up as easy as I can. That means he has no backbone. She's going to think he has no spine. He has lost his way in the relationship of leading that woman emotionally, spiritually, any which way. And she's going to not trust your masculinity. A woman wants to see that you are able to set the expectation and the precedent for how this relationship needs to be ran. Since you're the man, she wants you to take on that role of being that leader. Now, to boil this down into point number 5, and the most important point, I saved the best for last. And this also kind of stems into point 4 because they're connected. If you're nervous to call out expectations or behavior that you dislike, this leads me to point number 5, that she now sees that you cannot walk away. You see, here's what you have to understand. Any guy out there who wants to say, you can always just keep that relationship if you have your masculine frame, or you can do it if you pass her tests and you can have that masculine energy, or you know what, if you put your foot down and you tell her that you don't like that, that's good enough and she's going to respect that. That is not true. The only way that a woman will consistently respect you is if she knows that you will leave. That's it. A woman cannot respect a man that cannot walk away. Say that with me one more time. A woman cannot respect a man who cannot walk away. If she sees that you cannot walk away, she cannot respect you. Hypergamy cannot be satisfied. She knows 100% that she is the best option that you have. She knows 100% she is probably the prettiest woman you've ever seen or been with. She knows 100% that you are not going anywhere, and that is why she doesn't like you. That is why she does not respect you. That is why she wants to find a different man who does have those standards, who does have those expectations, who does have a dating life of abundance. These truths probably are not the funnest or most fun to hear. These truths probably kind of suck because they're probably bitter truths for a lot of you, but these are truths you need to internalize. These are the signs that a woman knows that you're catching feelings for her. And the more feelings you're catching for her, the less feelings she's catching for you, because you have changed the dynamic of the masculine to feminine dynamic and situation that she's looking for in a true healthy relationship. If you like this video, I want you to hit the like button, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.